Hey y'all, welcome to Over It All with DW and RJ, where we talk about any and everything. I'm DW, lover of facts, deep conversations, and pretty much anything that makes me think, wait, what?
And I'm RJ, your go to for pop culture hot takes, weird what if scenarios, and plenty of loud jokes. Wait, that doesn't say loud, that says bad. That's fine, we'll fix it in the edit. If it's out there, I'm probably obsessed with it. This is the show where no topic is too random, no conversation too out there. This is Over It All.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Over It All with DW and RJ. I'm DW.
I'm RJ.
And we're excited to be back here with you again. We're trying out a new format, the video, also with the audio. So it's new to me. So just bear with me. It's all I can ask.
You say that like it's not new to me.
I'm asking the people to be patient with me.
Yep.
So on this episode, we're going to talk about some pretty serious topics, including estrangement, reconnecting, and deciding to not reconnect with relatives. But before we get into that, RJ, do you have anything you want to talk to the people about?
Today it ain't too much going on. I spent about a good hour and a half fooling around with a new, as an almost 30-year-old, this is a new toy to me. I got a mini pressure washer, so I quick wash the whip, and I can tell you that I'm pretty pleased with the quality of it.
This is 30. Okay, then.
I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old.
I can't think of anything too much going on besides what's been going on, with Ain't Real still
Still.
Still being catastrophic towards a people, a land that they think they have rights to. So that is still happening. I did see a video of a child with no brain matter. So I did see that this week. And of course, it makes you sick to your stomach that this is the norm. Even though it should not be normalized. Seeing that hurts because that child was no older than my nephew. It's been beyond time to call for a ceasefire. Ain't Real needs to be demolished is all I have to say. And both sizing the issue is not okay. There is no two solution states. Free Palestine. That's what I have to say about that. Free Palestine. Our struggles are connected. Imperialism, capitalism, all of the struggles are connected. And we're not free till we're all free.
I agree. 1,000%, 100,000%. Free Palestine, free the Congo. We, not just our people, a lot of people around the earth being oppressed, being killed, destroyed, things like that.
Anti-LGBTQ plus legislation.
The general anti-black legislation.
Anti-disability legislation and ideologies. Like all of it is interrelated, and like I said, we're not free until we're all free. And I can picture a world where we're all free, if only the majority was also in tune with that vision and in tune with making it happen. But until then, free Palestine, free Congo, free us all. It is possible. I do believe that.
Now, I know this only the second episode, but I know we talked a little bit off air about it. And you wanted to kind of do an episode where you talk about your estrangement from your family. I know in particular it was heavy for you when it came to your mom. So just wanted to know if we could start that conversation. You can give some background on it, walk us through what led you to choosing the estrangement, choosing to distance yourself.
So it was not a decision that I came to quickly. It took me years to decide to break off communication from my mother, my father, and my relatives, their sisters and brothers, and some cousins. Growing up, I just always felt like the black sheep of the family. It's like I just felt like I could never fit in. I feel like I was always othered because I did grow up with a twin sister. I felt like we were always compared, and I just felt like I could never be the golden child. I hit the books, so I got the accolades academically, but interpersonally within the family, I just felt like I could not find my place. So in college, when I gained some independence, um, and when I graduated, especially, I was able to distance myself, not just financially, but physically and emotionally. I feel like the distance was always there, so that wasn't hard, but just adding in the physical boundaries, just made it a little bit easier, I think. Um, but I was an adult when I decided to estrange myself from my family. I felt like I needed that time to discover who I was, to discover who I wanted to be, and just figure out what I wanted my life to look like. I accomplished this through the help of licensed mental health counselors and just, researching. I found out that estrangement is pretty fucking common. Um, it just seems like it's a taboo subject in the Black community, but it is pretty common. We may not call it estrangement, but that family member that no one's heard from in years, that rarely comes around unless someone passes away, that's estrangement. It's not a decision I approached lightly at all. There were a lot of feelings of guilt, fear, but also hope. Um, I felt like I could finally figure out what the fuck I wanted, who I wanted to be, and just find my place, like figure out where I landed.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so would you say it was any specific actions or specific situations that came up that really cemented that decision for you?
I think that everything came to a head when my family experienced a traumatic event. I won't go into details because it's not my story to tell, but I just felt like the unhealthiness, the toxicity was, I was just finished. I was done. So, I talked to you for a long time, about my concerns, about my fears, my contemplations, about my place in my family. But I just felt like it just came to a head with that event. That was in 2018, and I was just finished. I had already distanced myself. If everyone would be honest, I had already distanced myself, like I said, physically, but also emotionally. Um, no one knew what was going on in my life. When I say no one, I mean none of my relatives. They didn't know where I lived. They did have my phone number, but they knew nothing about my life, about me, and who I was. And that happened throughout college. I purposely distanced myself, and that was just how I dealt with getting through. And yeah, like on breaks, I would do my damnedest to not have to go back home. So if that was sleeping on my classmate's couch, if that was sleeping on the damn floor, like I was not going home. And it was tough. Um, but I felt like it was worth it to finally figure out my place.
So from hearing you speak about it that way, you felt that the distance, especially the physical distance, was necessary for yourself. How do you what were some of the effects on your mental health?
I would say, there were a lot of unresolved issues. on my end, on my parents' end, and with relatives. Like I said, I always felt like the black sheep. And anytime I would voice that concern, it was just, denied. There was no talking through it. There was always that denial, and just like water under the bridge, like, forget it and move on type of thing. And I would say that I was the child who was always questioning. So that did not work for me. So with that in mind, I felt like it was twofold. Because, mentally it's like I felt freer, not being weighed down because I did not have that layer. I kind of dropped that layer from my life. So I felt freer. But on the other hand, when you have people coming at you, telling you you only have one mother, you only have one father, and you're saying and you're thinking they only had one me, you know, but the people are just like, well, they're your parent. You have to respect your parents. And I'm of the mindset that they have to respect me too, So that was the hardest part, I would say, was people coming at me, telling me to forgive and forget, to let them back in my life just because. And like I said, that didn't work for me because, discovering my voice, and just researching and learning and unlearning, I learned that just because I'm their child doesn't mean that I was not worthy of respect or kindness or effective communication or, what I deemed as love. Um, you know, I was different than my sister. We're two different people. She might have needed some things that I didn't need or vice versa. And, I learned that, my mother, maybe just didn't have the capacity because of certain responsibilities that she had. It's taken a lot of therapy and a lot of time for me to get there. But we've had conversations, and I'll get to that, but of trying to understand each other, um, back then to who we are today. Because I've grown, she's grown, we're two different people than what we were 10, 12, 15 years ago. So, I just feel like it was double edged. So, yeah.
Yeah, like it's hurting you, it's hurting her, it's hurting other people, but the effect of that hurt was different for everyone involved, and it takes its toll, obviously. And I know from hopefully being a place of comfort for you during that time, I'm pretty sure I got on your nerves.
You never pushed me in either direction to or from my family. You just,
Well, that was because I always, we obviously we grew up different. My mom and my dad, I love them both. I feel like, I've always felt like they had some areas they needed to grow in, and some of those areas I thought that they needed to grow in. They have shown some growth, especially over the, more recent years, but I've always kind of gotten, especially from my mom, it was me and her, before it was anybody else. So it was like she would always hit me with respect first, even as a kid. So that's kind of where I grew up with the viewpoint. It's like if we not giving each other that respect and we just going back and forth and it's getting a bit vicious, I'm gonna remove myself because at least at that time, I know you don't really want it. You're not trying to find no middle ground. You're not trying to compromise. You're not looking to hear what I actually have to say.
yeah.
So I'm just not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna put that energy towards trying to convince you to listen to me. That I've never been that way.
Yeah, that was
And
major.
that's also to a fault, I believe sometimes, because I know I've done it with you also sometimes, where it's just I'm a shutdown guy. It's all right, and especially a vocal shutdown. I not talk to you, and then you have across the room while something need to be clean, I go clean something like that. Like I'm a still do, but I'm not finna talk to you right now. And I know in the beginning it may have been a little hard to pick up on, but you started picking up on it. And you was like, man, he be cleaning the house kind of good when he mad, man. I know she been using it, y'all.
But yeah, not feeling like I was heard or, that she was trying to understand me, that was a major, pain point for me. But, she just didn't have the capacity. She was a single mother. She was an educator. She was a sister. She was an aunt. So she had responsibilities. She had things going on.
On top of having you and your sister playing horrible basketball and things of that nature.
That one,
We got video proof of that, y'all. But I'm saying she had y'all.
we
Yeah,
could
y'all
insert a
hey,
clip.
no, we don't want to do that to these.
We could do that. That would be cute.
We don't want to do that to these folks. Not this time. Not this time.
But yes, it took time because starting off in the beginning of the estrangement, I was angry. I guess that was a part of the grieving process, grieving the relationships. I felt like I had to grieve my parents, and they're both still alive. I feel like I had to grieve my relationships with my aunts, and they're alive. The uncles are alive too, but they're the uncles. Not that they're not important. They're just my aunts were there. They were there. Um, I had a couple friends who never, ever, judged me outwardly, who never came at me sideways. So who stuck beside me and listened to me vent. And they might not have understood my decision, but they respected me. Mm-hmm. So that, helped get me through.
You could say at least one of them look up to you.
And when you have external voices who are like, well, that's your mother. You have to forgive her. And you're like, no, I do not. Especially when you write a letter pouring your heart out and you get pictures of it ripped up, that was heartbreaking. And so my first therapist had me write a letter and she's like, you don't have to send it, but I suggest you send it. She actually was not a good therapist for me. We just talked in circles and it took me forever to break up with her. Okay. Do not be like me. If it is not a good fit, get out of there. Okay. Send the email, send the text, break up and find you another one. Okay. It was like 8 or 9 months I went on once I got to that point where I'm like, okay, this is not working for me. And I was still seeing her. But yeah, when you get that, you're like, how can I reason with this person? And it's like, I get it. She was angry. She was hurt. But that doesn't mean perpetuate that hurts. Even more, we're both hurting, don't add on to it, So since then, I believe we've both grown, we both changed. It's easier to say it than do it, So when it's actually time,
you talk, man.
When it's actually time to show that you've grown, it's
when you gotta
it's easy.
actively
It's
put
easy to revert to those bad habits and things of that nature. So, time will tell. But I think I'm jumping ahead a little bit.
We at the point where I think you can really touch on what led to your decision to reconnect. What led to your decision to reach back out
with my mother?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's fuck my dad. Let's just make that clear.
She probably ain't even gonna hear this.
That hasn't changed.
I ain't playing this over the speakers with
just saying. Okay, so like I said, a lot of therapy, a lot of self-reflecting to gauge if I was ready emotionally, just talking through what my boundaries would be, knowing that boundaries can't be like brick walls. They have to be, a little flexible, but not breakable. I don't know what I'm trying
You
to
gotta
say.
have some
They have to have some flexibility.
Yeah.
Not where you allow someone to run over you.
Yeah.
But
That's where compromise lives, in that flexibility.
yeah, it's like a thin line. And Nedra Glover Tawwab was a great resource. She has a third book coming out, I believe. I have two of them. Set Boundaries, Find Peace is one. But yeah, and I have the second one, and I'm going to get the third one. But Nedra Glover Tawwab was a great resource.
You talking to me, or you talking to my wallet? You talking about this gonna be on Amazon?
But yeah, learning what boundaries were and how to effectively set them and hold them, because you can't just say it one time what your boundary is. You have to, repeat them. You have to hold them, in order for somebody to learn them and respect them. And I had to learn that boundaries is a way we try to keep people in our lives, not keep them out, but actually bring them in and keep them as a part of our lives. So I had to learn that boundaries are not brick walls. If you want somebody there, this is how we can be in relationship with each other. This is how you can show up in my life. This is, for you, like, this is how I can show up in your life. I went through some transitions with a friend, and it's like I had to change myself in order to show up for my friend the way my friend wants me to show up. And, if I'm willing to accept that, I make the changes, and I have to hold it and be consistent, and not revert back to old ways and old habits, in order to show up for my friend, the way they need me to, in the way I'm able to. Learning that was major. Trying to figure out what I was looking for. What was I seeking from reconnecting? What would I be hoping to gain? And, this was like around Christmas. So it was actually after Thanksgiving, and I was talking to you, but it was actually a holiday time, so I guess I was feeling in the giving mood. I don't know.
Some could say it was some drinks involved at the time.
But yeah, and I was just like, I wonder. And, it's just from observing, because my mother was, with my sister and her family for a while to help with the baby, my niece. So it was just through observing her behavior and demeanor. I'm like, I wonder if we could reconnect, and I wonder what that would be like. So I slept on it for a good minute. But it was actually around the Christmas holiday I decided to put it out there. And, I said I was going to give it a good try, good faith try. And just be willing, put myself out there and say, hey, I'm ready to talk. If you're willing to talk to me, let's do this. Let's see how it goes. And it was very emotional. You think about the time that has passed, and no, I don't regret my estrangement. If I had to do it, I would do it again. Definitely, because there was unhealthy dynamics. There was unhealthy behavior and toxic, behaviors that I just, I didn't want to be in relationship with those factors, hanging over it, because I could see healthy relationships. I could see, positive behaviors. I could see just goodness, not hiding things and saying, oh, let that go. That's water under the bridge. Like, no, let's talk about it. Let's really talk about it. And yes, it'll be uncomfortable, and we may cry, but we can get through this, I just feel like that's where the work comes in, is saying, hey, I'm going to be uncomfortable. This may make me sad. It may make me angry, hearing things, but knowing that I impacted this person I say I love and care for in this way, even though that wasn't my intention maybe, but just, learning to sit with it and say, hey, how can I ensure that I don't do this again? And if I do, how do I atone for it? Because we're not perfect beings, but we don't have to set out with the intention to harm. And I think oftentimes we don't, but it still happens. We can still harm the people we love. But repairing those relationships and ensuring that we have healthy coping skills and can, limit the harm we cause those we love. And even people we don't love, we don't have to be out here harming folks all willy-nilly.
Right.
But
No reason to be putting out negativity like that. That's a lot of energy you spend going around, actually, hurting people, whether it's physically or emotionally. So I want to know how you're gonna repair or repay back the emotional damage that you caused, you and your sister, by having us out here in these two little Christmas matching outfits, out here taking pictures and posing for about an hour, and them two little things we
we
could have
can
ripped
post
up
those
out of.
pictures too.
Nah, we ain't gotta post that, the summer body wasn't in yet,
Yet? Where is it now?
Hey man, it's up under there somewhere, but it definitely wasn't that in. It was way too.
Somebody gonna get everybody. I give it like
Some of them been gone and the body still ain't came out, so I guess may see what winter do.
yada 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 yada.
But looking at how y'all have reconnected, the time, it's been a good amount of time since the reconnections happened.
With my sister and my mother, because I was estranged from my sister for a period of time. Also, before my nephew was born.
We can talk about that.
Yeah. So, like I said, those toxic behaviors and thought patterns and just, unhealthy, traits were obviously passed down, to me and my sister, and it just came to a head. I'm like, no, like I'm not gonna do this. So I did take a break from being in a relationship with my sister, too, but we reconnected about 3 years before I reconnected with my mom. So that's my twin. Like, it was hard as fuck. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like that's my girl. She literally was there since day one. So, but I was just like, it's no way we're gonna make it if we continue this pattern. So, like I said, I had to learn some things, had to unlearn some things, and just learn how to be a healthy person in a healthy relationship. Like, what would that look like for us? We can make this shit work on our own terms. We don't have to do what our mom and her sisters did. Like, we can do our own damn thing. So I just had to learn that. Like, just because examples were set doesn't mean we have to, follow those examples. So yeah, we ended up reconnecting right before my nephew was born. And yeah, that's my girl. I'll do anything for her.
So how do you think reconnecting with your mom has been?
So I would say the method I used to reach out to my mother, because I did have PTSD from that ripped up letter, was text message. And I would say, I wasn't 100% no contact. There were texts, where she would inform us or inform me of, family members' health status, if something was going on, or her checking in. I might then respond, but she would still send messages or whatever. So, but my preferred method of contact was text messages, because and then I have a record. And with the way my brain processes information, if I see it written down, then I have time to, figure out what I want to say, like my response. But then I can go back and reference it even later because that's just how my brain works. Like something to come to me later, I need to see it in order to make sure, that my thoughts are cohesive and all of that. So I did reach out via text around holidays, and it was funny because I didn't get a response. And I'm like, girl, what the fuck?
She
So
did
I
bad area. No
texted my
reception.
sister, like, girl, what's going on? I text your mother, like, I put myself out there, like, but she ain't responded. So my sister was like, she just transferred her phone number to a different carrier. So they had to do something to get that fully processed. And she ended up texting me like a day or two later. And I was like, I didn't get a text from you. I'm like, okay, girl, this is what I sent. So we went from there. And it's been cool. Like I said, we both have to learn how to sit with the discomfort. And, when we're talking about how certain actions in the past made us feel, how certain words made us feel, like acknowledging, like, you may not remember it like this, but this is how I starkly remember it, like being able to sit with that and say, and hold it and say, I may not understand this, but my baby was hurt. My baby said that I hurt her, so I have to hold it and comfort her and say, hey, I'm going to try my damnness not to do that again. I'm so sorry that that happened. Like being able to say that and own it, even, in spite of ourselves, because we don't want nobody coming to tell us about no shit we done did. Like, who wants to hear about that shit? I know that one day my niece and nephew and maybe future kids may come to me and say, hey, you hurt me. And I'm like, no, the fuck I didn't. In my head. But the words coming out of my mouth is, baby, I'm so sorry. TT apologize. TT don't want to hurt you. Thank you for letting me know. How can I repair this? How can we move forward in a healthy way? So being able to do those things is important because I know that, it'll come back to me one day. So, like I'm not saying these things without knowing that. So yeah. Did I answer your question?
I believe so. I surely hope so.
But yes, a major part was also, like I said, managing my expectations. Like, what did I want from this reconnection? What would showing up back home, look like? What is that going to be like? So like that anxiety just around, like, oh my gosh, I haven't stepped foot here in shit, almost 10 years. Like, what is this going to, are they going to accept me? Are they going to talk shit about me? Like, are they going to slap me? Like, what's going to happen? I got to get ready to throw these bows. Like, what's happening?
These bows.
You never know. So, but no, I was welcomed back with open arms. The folks said they miss me. But it's like we haven't missed a beat, even though I know several beats have been missed. Like, they're telling me about their lives. I'm telling them about my life. Like, it's been interesting to learn about who they've grown into. It's been interesting to learn about my mom and her interests and who she's grown into, what she's interested in and what my aunts are interested in, like K-dramas, like what the fuck?
K-dramas and pistols.
Wow, wow, West. Yes. So it's been cool. It's been a roller coaster ride because I don't know how long we've been talking. Does it show?
No, I don't see it.
So just do we get into it or do we get into it?
Dorothy, you can get into it
Because it's been a whole roller coaster ride. 41 minutes. Does that show you, girl? At the top?
I ain't even looking. What is it?
Bigger.
Like what, bigger me?
Make this bigger. Like smooth this over. Yeah. Like make it bigger. Oh, this is what I'll show you. Press that.
I see it right there.
Okay. Okay. We're learning this still. Be patient with us, y'all.
Ain't that out, man.
It's been 0 to 100. Like I said, it was like December. We spent Christmas together at my sister's home. And then March, my mother had a major fucking surgery and then had an ICU stint as a result of complications. But yeah, it was 0 to 100. Like, so, you know, there was some adjustment we had to make. There was some high emotional moments, you know, where I had packed my bag. I'm like, I'm about to go because I'm going to bring up stuff. Like, I'm going to bring up the stuff, the icky stuff that makes us feel, you know, because like I said, certain actions impacted me a certain way and they're vivid memories for me. But for her, you know, she had a lot of shit going on. So she may not even fucking remember the shit, but I vividly remember it because it significantly impacted me. You know what I'm saying? And when I bring that up, her not, you know, acknowledging that, her not holding herself accountable, you know, for the impact she had on me, from those actions, you know, talking about, oh, what she intended and all of that, you know, like that came to a head at one point in time. And I had packed my bags and I'm like, I'm about to go, you know, because somebody who's going to call me a liar, somebody who's not going to acknowledge my truth, you know, like I don't have to accept that shit. I'm a full grown adult, like independent of you. You know what I'm saying? So, I can get the fuck up and go, you know, but I'm trying to make this work. Like, help me make it work, you know? So we had to have that coming to Jesus moment and figure shit out. Like, and, you know, when you're trying to have a healthy relationship with someone, you are constantly trying to figure stuff out. And that doesn't mean the work has to be hard, but there is work, you know, even in our relationship, there's work, you know, loving someone doesn't have to be hard, but there is still intention. There's still trying to figure that person out, like trying to figure out, how can I show up in this person's life as a positive influence, like as a, at least not a negative influence, I guess, like a neutral,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So we had to have that moment, like, and I literally had my bags packed because for fight, flight, or fawn, I feel like I'm forgetting the fourth one. I think it's a fourth one,
Yeah, fight, flight,
but I'm definitely a flighter.
and
Like,
freeze or something like that.
yes,
Wait, is falling free?
I don't know, but I'm a flighter. Like, I'm a go. I'm gonna see myself out. Type of bitch, like I'm gone. So, you know, trying to combat that, you know, and be like, okay, I'm not running. I'm still here. How can we make this relationship work with who we are today? How can we accept that I'm going to bring some shit up? You're going to bring some shit up. We got to sit in it and be uncomfortable, be angry, be mad, but not call each other liars. Like, let us respect each other's truths and acknowledge the impact in spite of our intentions. So, yeah.
So would you consider that like one of the big key lessons that you gained from this experience?
Yeah. And just standing in your truth, you know, holding what you know to be true for you, standing on it. You know, don't
And
let,
expressing it. You gotta express it.
yes,
Talk about
expressing it, talk about it, get some licensed mental health professional help.
yes.
Had a brain
Brain
or
part.
not your preacher, not your pastor, not your mama, not your auntie, not your uncle, not no minister, none of that. Licensed mental health care professional, okay? They got them letters after their name. If you need a psychiatrist, do that too. But yes, yeah.
So were there any more closing thoughts you got?
I just know that it can be different for everyone. Like, my story is not someone else's story. Like, I feel like me and my mom are in a great place today. I never imagined we would be here. Not gonna lie, you know, so I'm grateful that we were able to reconnect and she's still here after her ICU stint and all of that drama. I believe she's willing to go there with me. She's willing to challenge herself and how she was raised, to go there through that icky stuff with me, and figure shit out. Like, let's figure each other out today. Like, how can we show up for each other and be our best selves for each other? So I know that, someone else's story, their parent may reject them because like I said, one of the first times I tried to communicate my feelings and all of that with my mom, she rejected it. And that shit hurt. And it did. So I knew then that I had to work on myself because we cannot control anyone else. I had to learn that we can only control ourselves. That's what boundaries are, controlling ourselves, what we're willing to allow in our life and what we're willing to accept in our life. Like, boundaries are all about us, and our actions and all of that. So I would say focus on you, because that's all you can control, to some extent. Um, Focusing on growing, on learning unhealthy shit, learning stuff, because there are a lot of tools out there. Like I said, Nedra Glover Tawwab is an excellent resource. She even has a podcast, I believe, but her books are excellent resources, and she has workbooks to go along with them. If you're into journaling, yeah, just focus on healing yourself and with professional help, and getting to the other side, because there is hope on the other side, even if reconnection doesn't happen. I just wanted to also say that, like we said earlier, respect is a two-way street. And I believe it was Nedra Glover Tawwab who had a post on Instagram that said something to the effect of, just because you're your parents' child doesn't mean you're still a child. Okay, I am of the mindset that children deserve respect just like an adult, so leading with that, respect is a two-way street. Just because you're more mature than someone doesn't mean that you're automatically owed respect. You have to give respect in order to be respected. It's not just owed to you. Please show it and it'll be paid back, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% because if you don't give it and it's not given to you, you shouldn't be in any kind of interaction situation with that person who is not respecting you. It's not gonna work. It's always gonna, if it doesn't start off negative, it's always gonna lead to something negative eventually.
Like, I'm of the mindset, just because you're related doesn't make you family. I do believe in chosen family, and I do believe that relatives can be part of your chosen family. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just because we're related by blood
who we wanna
does not mean that we're family. That means you're my relative. But relatives can be part of your chosen family if they are willing to show up as a healthy part of your life, not bring that toxic shit into your life, and just willing to grow and be in healthy relationship with you. But yes, chosen family is what got me through. Chosen family is what helped me see 31, because at some points I thought I wasn't going to make it. That's just the truth. When you don't have your family of origin there by choice of force, it can get lonely because you're being told blood is thicker than water, family over everything.
But that's already, I know it come back a bit recently where, like, blood is thicker than water, the jack of all trades. Those phrases people have started relearning, like the actual full phrase. Whereas like the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Which is essentially saying like the bonds that you make with people throughout your life, be it family or not, those bonds are what make you connected and stronger. Like, not just because you were born into this family. So, people were starting to understand that the quote was being misused. Just like a lot of things, you can people
from
read
religious
it,
texts,
and then people try to
misconstrue it,
shorten
use
it.
it
Yeah,
to their advantage.
yeah.
But that'll be for another episode. Yeah, so I think those are my closing thoughts. If you made it this far, thank you for sticking it out with us. I know this subject is pretty taboo, especially in the Black community. But just know, if this is something you're facing, you're not alone. And yeah, I do plan to do an episode with my mother, to talk about our relationship and our journey so far, and just expound upon that. I do plan to do an episode with my sister talking about our relationship and our journey and life and all of the things, because she is a parent and a full-time worker and all of the things. Yeah. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Thank you for sticking it out with us. Please subscribe. Please leave a rating and review, and look out for more, because we have way more content coming for you guys.
Coming down the pipeline, coming down the railroad track, coming down
Serious
the road.
topics coming up. I'm trying to get somebody to be a little bit more into the planning for some lighthearted type of things, but
I keep it lighthearted by going with the flow, man.
I think I'm going to insert some clips from the video
floating through the universe.
and from Christmas. Since you brought it up, I have to insert the clips and the
man.
pictures. Thank you for listening to us, and we'll catch you the next time.